we got to get out there. We got to go promote. We got to promote. You know what I mean? In developing a personal brand, you have to be able to make sure that the work that you do represents the values that are within you, that you want the world to see. I just created something different. I created a platform, right, for so many different independent artists to come through, share their music. The model is, how can I survive doing music full time?
All right, Anthony Obas, welcome to the podcast, Alexey GV Music Podcast, everybody. Podcast on modern music business. Okay, Anthony, how would you introduce yourself to us, people who don't know much about you?
Well, you know what time it is Obas and an Obas rant time. That is the best way to introduce Anthony Obas, author of Shifting Your Music into a Career, consulting for the independent artist, manager, and entertainer. Just overall a great guy. I think that's how you introduce Anthony Obas. Not to brag about myself, but that's how you talk about Anthony Obas. It be like that sometimes, you know. But that's how you introduce Anthony Obas, a person that's looking to inspire so many different creatives to just take what they're passionate about and figure out a way to make it into income. So that's how you describe Anthony Obas.
The way I always ask the question, like, out of the all professions, how did you end up doing this type of job?
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it took a complete left turn. I mean, I wanted to be a sports analysis person, which
Sports
I
analysis, all right.
yeah, I wanted to be on ESPN, and cover basketball and cover a little bit of American football. But I did radio. I started with radio, and then I started to give people a platform on my radio station to showcase their stuff. And then from there on, it just took off.
Wow. So you created your own radio station in New York.
I, I had basically my own radio show. I had my radio show I had on my own radio show, but I mean, from there, I just created something different. I created a platform, right, for so many different independent artists to come through, share their music, do freestyle, do a cappella, do everything. Also creating a personal brand for myself, if that makes sense. Um,
Of course it does. So that's actually very interesting. So first you created this radio, and then you use this radio to promote your other stuff.
yeah, exactly. In a sense, right?
Was it college? Was it college radio?
College radio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I started with college radio. I did two college radios at the same time because I was like, we got to get out there. We got to go promote. We got to promote. You know what I mean? And I was just pushing it, but I was just using the platform of the radio, but trying to figure out ways to intertwine radio with something else. Because I have experience. It's just I've always had a passion for music. And now it's just like now we're diving in. We're trying to dive in into it full force,
What
full
genre?
force.
What genre of music?
I love all type of genres of music. Big fan of hip hop, R&B. People don't know this. I like EDM and electronic music. I am starting to get into Nirvana music. I love reggae music. I love
Nirvana, you mean the band or the genre?
the genre.
Oh,
hmm hmm
like Indian stuff, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Interesting.
And then I'm starting to get into UK music, so I'm trying to expand internationally. I like compa music, so I'm a man of many genres. Afrobeat. I'm a man of many genres. I just don't do country music. It's just not my type. It's not my taste.
Speaking about personal branding, what is a personal brand to you and how do you develop it?
Yeah, I mean, when I first developed, everybody kept telling me I needed to do my own brand and everything like that. I mean, it didn't take me until 2018 to really step into my own brand because I thought maybe I could collaborate with other people's brands and kind of figure out a way to like promote us together. So when creating a personal brand, I always thought it comes with collaboration. I thought you would be able to, so me and you, let's say your platform was bigger. In order for me to develop a personal brand, I had to work with you in order for me to develop a personal brand. However, what I realized my time as working with, a former colleague was that all the work that I was doing, it ended up creating my personal brand, which the things that I value, the things that I wanted to see progress, if that makes sense, right? So in developing a personal brand, you have to be able to make sure that the work that you do represents the values that are within you, that you want the world to see. And the values I wanted to show the world was this idea of be independent, right? Be yourself, create the stuff that you can do independently, right? So I created, like, example for the book, I did it from hard scratch, with when it comes to,
Sorry for interrupting you. What's the name of the book so
yeah,
everybody
shift.
knows?
Oh yeah, shifting your music into your career, volume one, available everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Lulu.com. You can make your purchase there.
There you
You
go.
can
Okay.
you can make your purchase there. But I'm showing people, like, I did shows. I mean, I just reflected on a show I did. Again, I was 19, and here in America, to do shows at a bar, you have to be 21 plus. How did I do it? I mean, I did it. Those are the things I value, right? Defying the odds, being independent, going against what society tells us that we can't do. Like, that's the type of stuff I value, and I showcase that, to the people, and that's how I started developing a personal brand. And what I realized is that people just gravitated to me for some reason. People that I didn't know, they just came to me because that they appealed to that, they loved it. You use a couple of you use advertisement to kind of push it, but people just gravitated me because of word of mouth, because I told this person told this person's good, you should collaborate, and that's off the strength of the things that I value. I always value the people.
The most interesting part is the beginning steps, because
Right,
when you grow bigger, it gets, well, to my idea, it gets a little easier, right? But
right.
in the very beginning, like, of course, the person has to understand his values and what he wants to bring to the public, and his charisma and his character. But how to stand out in the very beginning? What do you think? What is that click? You know.
So it comes, I be honest with you, it came for me through a turning point, right? I mean, a lot of people were able, like, for me, I was just fed up with, working, for people. I was tired of getting, betrayed by certain things, and certain things just clicked to me. And there was one time, I lost all my work. I did 3 weeks supply, 3 years, not 3 weeks, 3 years supply of work of blogging. I seen that go away within a day. You know what I mean? Somebody hacked the website, and I seen that go away for a day. You know what I mean? 3 years
Oh,
supply of work, and those type of things,
but
end up
that gives
making
you strength, right? It gives you character.
it
I'm
gave
gonna
me
do it no matter what, right?
it gave me so much strength, but it only helped me to realize, like, you need to develop a personal brand. Like, you need to do this. You got this. You know what I mean? Like, you can. These are the things that you value, but you can do this. You can build an empire on your backbones. Like, you can do this. It just only gave me fire to keep doing what I did. But this time, attach my name to it. Attach my ownership to it, and that's what's been the biggest driving force for me, is to make sure now, when developing a personal brand, my name is on it, but also my name holds value, and the things that come with my name also represent something value, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about your niche. How do you plan your niche in advance? Because you have to think of your audience when planning. I mean, you have to think of people who will relate to your content.
Right, exactly. So for me, um, how do I pick my certain audience, right? It comes with matching my values. So for example, I've been working with, I'm just gonna name a couple few creatives, but my man Nick Moody, my man Jahar, my man Zane, Leandra's another good, McNair, Shilezi. These are some people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. Miko Sky, like, these are my artists,
You were
Luke.
doing music together.
Yeah, we're doing music together. They're the artists, right? Then I have Selena, I have Dennis Banks. Like, these are all the people that I interact on the same day-to-day basis. And how do I find the niche? So what happens is, it starts with one person, right? It always starts with one person building an audience. And for example, is I met Nick in 2017 while I was working with a radio station. We've always stayed in connect, but I've always seen him work hard. Like I've seen him constantly always, I've always seen him make videos and all this crazy graphic stuff, and we've always kept in connection. He's always been a great person. You know what I mean? And those are things that I value too. But we never really kind of bridged the gap, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And then what happened was he also seen that I was working hard by myself, doing this and doing all this other stuff. And I'm like, hey, hold on for a second. Wait a minute. I see what you're doing. You see what I'm doing. Let's do it. And ever since then, our values came together and we've been able to create that niche, right? That niche of an audience, and people have started to gravitate to what me and him, and then now Selena of Lunar Legacy has also gravitated to it, what we're doing and what's the movement. And then it's big. So now it just takes persuading that one person and finding the formula that they have and you have and adding it together. The people that I work with on a day-to-day basis add value to me. They increase what I'm doing to the most capability, and they increase our audience. So whoever is a fan of them is also a fan of me, but whoever's a fan of me is also a fan of them. I hope that makes sense. That's a beautiful way of describing it.
Exactly.
You know,
So you have to find your own team
right.
to be a member of a team.
You have to be, and for some people, or you be the leader of the team. You know what I mean? Like, I've stepped into the idea of understanding that I am a leader and I'm the person that puts everybody together in the room together. But I'm also the person that drives everybody together to the next step. You know what I mean? So when I'm not right as a leader, I can't move everybody else. Like everybody's moving on their own time, but I have to be the one to make the step and make it make sense for everybody to understand. Like I have to be, sometimes you gotta be the leader. And that also comes with changing hats sometimes for different roles depending on where it is. But I know for a fact my team is always has my back on everything that I do and everything that I say. There's some days I just don't feel like it, but they're pushing through, like they continue to push through. And I know that for a fact because we're not even a team, we're a family, right? The people, the creatives that I have around me, we don't only just talk about music business, right? We hang out, we party, we have dinner together, right? The significance of having dinner with your artists or with your your friends or your creative team says way more value that we can disregard this music business, this photography, this videography. We can break bread together, have laughs, watch TV, and be normal friends. Like these people have become more than just business partners. This is my family, right?
And
Um,
then it just grows, right?
and it just grows. Like we're there for each other no matter what happens. Like we're there for each other. I might not have the biggest money, but if somebody was $2 short, I'm gonna give them the $2 because we're just a family, right? We're a family that supports each other and always holds each other accountable for everything that we do. And that has helped me build the personal brand of Anthony Obas because Anthony Obas is a family man.
I actually wanted to ask you about Clubhouse. Are you on Clubhouse?
Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse. I mean, Clubhouse is a great platform. I mean, I tap in from time to time, but I don't. I have a lot of things going on between listening to podcasts, listening. I also have to sometimes teach and also scheduling master classes. It's just a lot, so I don't really get a chance to tap into Clubhouse. But Clubhouse is a great platform, honestly. A lot of people could do a lot of talking on Clubhouse, right? But if I can't see what you're about, if I can't see who you look like, if I can't put a name to it and see the actual things, I don't think that's presumably valuable, right? And also the situation is like you can do all the talk to talk, right? I want people want to see action, right? And that's actions hold way more value than people talking to me, honestly. So again, going on Clubhouse, yes, you can start to develop an audience by connecting. Everybody's looking to connect to people. Everybody's looking for information. But the situation to make yourself, to grab your audience, to grab your people, to grab what you have to say about the people, you have to create action. You have to create seeable action for people to attract you. That's what's always happened for me. Like I don't do a lot of talking, right? I don't. I if Clubhouse existed before COVID, I still wouldn't be able to use Clubhouse because I'm a type of guy that I let the things that I do showcase and then I do the talking later. That's how I build my audience. And I think that's the way that everybody should build their audience, you know?
What's your advice on where to start the audience for the artist?
The best I'll be honest with you, the best place for you to start your audience is the first place is to start with the people that you know on a day-to-day basis. Start with the people that you constantly interact, whether it's your job, whether it's your family, your friends, you know what I mean? Start with those people first, right? They will be the ones that friends, I always say friends, families will always be the ones to start with you first as an audience. Then the third thing, you go on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Use the social media platforms as a way to kind of promote what you're doing. People are going to gravitate towards that, right? People are going to create content for people to audience is going to do. We have social media at our disposal. You're going to use the various hashtags. You're going to use the various advertisements to attract those audience. People are going to see it. If they choose to like it, they choose to like it. If they choose to save it, they choose to save it. Build a community, right? Continue to engage with them, right? After you continue to engage with them, show them your value. If your value and their value matches up, that's how you become that. That's how they become your audience. Now, I would, not to go on a whole spill here, but you have three types of audience, right? You have the audience that are people who are aware of your brand. So people see my brand, right? But they don't know me, right? Then you have people that are interested in your brands. Those people are now becoming interested. They hear everybody chop 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 chop. Everybody's talking. Now they become interested because, like we said before, those values, right, match up to you, right? Now, if you know that, if you and their match value together, you have to now bring them in, right? Bring them in into your community, bring them into your audience. That's how you kind of make that community, right? A community of, right? The community of fans, a community of audience. I've had people that are in me that will go extra miles because I brought them in and showed them what a community, like I talked to you before, the family. What does the family look like? The family is different than my audience. That's completely different. You know what I mean? And that's how you kind of build the audience. I will always say start with your family, start with your immediate friends. If those people are not the people that are supporting you at first, then you're going to have a very troublesome way of going a long way.
Can you give a couple tips on music business for the artists?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to talk about music business, I mean, I've been doing this music business stuff for going on for 3 years. We need to change the way music business is talked about. So what I mean by that is, we always think about it as people that are getting signed and they're becoming on a big label, and the label is pushing out various different advances to them, and advances is giving them money to kind of record, and then you go on tour and all the other stuff at 360, right? We need to change that model because that's not realistic. That I think that's a fantasy, right? The realistic thing is wherever you live, right? So, for example, I live in New York, right? To live in New York, they say you need about $60,000, right? That's what they say, $60,000. Not including if like that's by yourself. That's like, so for me, I don't got no kids, I don't got no wife. 60. If I did music, $60,000 is what I need to have
A
made out
year?
of a year.
A
A
year.
year. And your music, you need to make 50 to $60,000 off of your music to survive. Like the model is not about becoming famous. The model is how can I survive doing music full time. That's why I came up with the book Shifting Your Music into Career Volume One. It's not about it's not about becoming a big superstar. You're not going to be a big superstar because there's too many artists out here everywhere. Too many artists in too many countries, right? But the goal is how can I make $60,000? Again, just speaking from New York, how can I make $60,000 doing music solely? And to be honest with you, can you do it with music solely? Yes and no at the same time, right? Because artists that are in the music business game, if you're trying to be independent, if you're trying to make $60,000, you have to be not only just an artist, but you have to be an entrepreneur, a creative entrepreneur, meaning it's like you have to tap in as an artist to so many different things that are surround your music. I talk about music as not the tree, but it's the branch of the tree, right? So what I mean by that is music does not support the tree, right? It's a it's a part, it's a branch, right? It's a part of the it's a part of the tree, but the tree itself, it doesn't support you and keep you standing. All these other things that are supporting it, right? You support the tree, you but music is a branch. You know, maybe you're a video game person and you put your music into gaming as well too. That supports the tree. All those things support the tree so that the tree can survive, which meaning the $60,000, right? So we need
Merchandise, right?
merchandise, tour, royalties, sponsorship, right? You need to think about all these different things, but there's also things outside of the music business, just outside of generic music business model that we can use to support artists, right? Think about it. If an artist was today to partner up with somebody like Twitch, a company that does streaming, and they were able to do that, that's money right there. Let's say an artist came up with their own video game, right, and designed it how the way their life is as an artist, and you get to play as that artist. That changes the direction and changes the value of the artist. That's music business. Music, like this day and age, we need to stop thinking about, let's try to go get this artist signed or whatever. We need to start thinking about, can we get angel investors to give us $30,000? I'll make the other $30,000 on my own. I'll be able to survive $60,000, right? As you continue to keep adding on more and more people, of course, you're gonna have to start doing payouts, of course, as well too. But it comes with you understanding that the music, the all that is just only just a part of it. There is way more to just the singing than you can do. Like people don't realize this, artists don't realize is that there's two kind of sides of music. There's the recording artist and then there's the songwriting artist, right? The songwriting is where you get your royalties at, right? The recording is you just being in the studio and just saying it, pitching in, fit it in as well too with the recording as well too. Like there is a lot of artists think that there's only one side of the music business, which is just the recording. No, there's songwriting. I can write for you. You know what I mean? I can write if I don't want to be an recording artist, I'm not good at recording. I'm not good at writing, right? So somebody can write for me. Somebody can write for me, then I can become the recording. They'll keep their royalties, they'll keep their money, and I'll make the money off of the recording based on contracts and licensing. But all those things do not start without this idea of developing a branding and understanding why. That's why I dropped volume one, because volume one sets the standard for how to develop the branding. You cannot think about being an artist if you don't get the branding, if you don't understand your purpose, your why, and how do you make music? Why did you make music in the first place? And the image that comes with it. Once you're able to develop that image, you can now go on Facebook. Now you can go on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and Tubify and Clubhouse and be able to promote that as well too. But it's also the fact of visually, right? You think of the photos that you mean, right? The photos that you post. Like this is one of my friends' things. And this image, even though it represents my lifestyle, you get what I'm saying? So like the things that are around you represents my lifestyle exactly. So I can post that, right? The photo represents my lifestyle. The music videos that you are producing represents the lifestyle and the image you're trying to portray. But it's also relatable, right? You see artists these days, flashing $100,000 bills and all this other stuff, but they don't live like that. That's not their
They're
lifestyle.
faking it, right?
We're faking it. We want to see what's real. We want to see a real life story. Like we want to see some like I live in a 3 bedroom apartment. I live in a small room. That's part of my story. That's part of my story. People want to see that because my audience will gravitate to my story because it's real. There's other people that might have the same story as me, right? There's like I will showcase people outside of the music business stuff. I am a college counselor. I don't got nothing to hide. I got nothing to hide, right? Like that's part of my life. But how do people relate to it? Because as artists, as small businesses, as small creatives, we're getting a second job just to fund for our creative outlet. Like this creativity stuff is my first job. The college counseling stuff is my second job. I'm using that to fund for this. Everybody has that story. So if I visually showed that, photography showed that, if I tweeted that stuff, people are going to relate to that. If I even get one like from somebody, that's my audience right there. That's who I'm supposed to get to.
All right, I really like the stuff that you're saying, but we're unfortunately running out of time. But thank you very much for being with me today.
Of
No
course, of
worries.
course. So I want to say thank you so much for having me as well. Two fingers crossed. You can follow Anthony Obas Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. I'm there. I'm easily reachable. My email is there as well too. As well, continue to buy Shifting Your Music into Career Volume 1 is there now. It's Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, and Lulu.com. And like I said in the beginning of this, and I'm going to say it at the end, the love inspires creativity, right? Continue to create, continue to inspire. Your music is dope. It will find the right people that it needs to find.
All right, cool, cool, my friend. So
Thank you.
I gotta go, but we'll be in touch. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Alexey.